Secondly, global health. This is another pressing challenge which we are poised to meet. Migration and rapid urbanization have changed the way we look at global health. Diseases and pandemics spread across borders much faster than even before. If they are not controlled effectively, the impact will be devastating. The neglected diseases of the world's poor are one example. The so-called neglected tropical diseases that affect millions of people beyond the tropical regions are another one. The silver lining to this dark cloud is that the world has the ability to treat and control many of these diseases. And we also have the know-how to build health systems that serve all. In fact, we have seen almost eradication of polio. And we need to make all these diseases erased on our agendas. That is why the United Nations is pushing very hard for sustainable action to cut maternal and child mortality, to combat HIV/AIDS, to defeat malaria, and to wipe out tuberculosis and other diseases. We are also working to build functioning and affordable health systems, starting with increased support to the people who staff them. But these efforts are hindered by the fragmented nature of the global health landscape. That is also why the welcome rise in new actors and resources will not amount to much unless we ensure coherent and decisive action. The United Nations is already working on this front as convener and advocate for greater coordination and accountability among health actors. A few weeks ago, I called a meeting of the United Nations and non-UN leaders in the health sphere to discuss top global health priorities and what we can do about them. I told them then, and I say to you now, that too many lives hang in the balance for us to wait. This is the time to be decisive and bold. Ladies and gentlemen, thirdly, let me brief you about the terrorism, which can affect anyone, anywhere, anytime. As you know too well, United Kingdom was not the exception from this terrorism. In 2006, the United Nations General Assembly adopted the Global Counterterrorism Strategy. This was a milestone, the first time that all 192 member states came together to formulate a comprehensive, collective, and internationally approved plan to counter terrorism. It was also the first time that all member states agreed that certain conditions can be conducive to the spread of terrorism and that our counterterrorism efforts must target these conditions. The adoption of this landmark strategy demonstrated yet again the UN's role in addressing key global challenges. I have established a task force, Counterterrorism Implementation Task Force, and in the same way, I look to member states to step up the challenge of the lasting disarmament and non-proliferation. Weapons of mass destruction, especially nuclear weapons, are inherently indiscriminate. They make no distinction between citizens and soldiers, men and women, the old and the young, plant and animal, indeed no distinction between all living things. They wreak wholesale havoc, not just spatially, but also temporarily, lingering into the future to rob new generations of life, security, and prosperity. And even when they are not used, these weapons remain a threat. There is always a risk that they can cause accidents or fall into the wrong hands with deadly consequences. There is now near universal recognition of the risks inherent in the very existence of weapons of mass destruction. There is also widespread understanding of the dangers accompanying unconstrained competition in conventional weaponry. In fact, In deliberations at the United Nations, the vast majority of states continue to cite 0 as the most desirable minimum number of nuclear weapons. They also accept that verifiable and irreversible disarmament remain the safest, most reliable way to protect against the use of weapons of mass destruction. Building on these points of agreement, any realistic approach to security should involve the simultaneous pursuit of 2 essential goals. First, the elimination of all weapons of mass destruction, namely nuclear, biological, chemical weapons, and secondly, the limitation of other types of weapons to legitimate defensive purposes. I tend to work with member states in pursuit of these ideas. My own experiences in Korea taught me that there is simply no other way to safeguard our collective security and ensure a peaceful world. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the 4 challenges I have just outlined today are truly global. They affect all and they require attention by all. I have identified issues, but I have not proposed solutions. These require more than a 20-minute monologue from the Secretary General of the UN. Even the most profound thinking at the local or national level. They require collective thinking and global approaches. They require the United Nations, not just the organization, but also the ideals, all people working together for the collective good. That is my challenge to you today. As supporters of the United Nations, as decision makers, as activists, and as concerned citizens, you can make crucial contributions to those ideals and goals of the United Nations. The issues are already before us, but solutions will come through joint and unprecedented efforts on the part of you. Together, I think we can tackle the looming challenges and make our world healthier, safer, and prosperous for all the people. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.